Hey there, welcome to Storytime with Ellie podcast. Today we're going to be speaking with Sonny Von Cleveland about his incarceration, about how he turned his life around from bad to good.
The earliest memories of my life are riddled with tragedy, trauma, and sexual abuse. A convicted felon at age 7, I found myself incarcerated in the Michigan Department of Corrections at age 16, where I would spend 18 of the next 20 years of my life. Swallowed by a world of gangs, violence, and hatred, I believed that my life was destined for failure until a Muslim man in solitary confinement broke through my hardened exterior and showed me the pathway to living a better life, regardless of my past. This is a story of redemption. Today, I lead a life of service, partnering with local law enforcement, nonprofit organizations, ex-military, parole, and corrections officers. The goal of my life is to impart the wisdom and teachings that I have learned from my experiences of overcoming tragedy, forgiving myself and others, and processing emotional trauma on the journey of self-mastery. It's not what you've done, but what you do that defines who you are. And through it all, I've come to learn this one foundational principle about the quality of life. It's a choice. This is my story. I like the
Welcome,
applause.
Sonny.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and we appreciate you coming on to Storytime with Ellie to share your experience with our audience. And let's just shoot. Let's just shoot. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and let's go.
I was born and raised in Michigan in the backwoods, out by Carson City, Michigan. It's kind of like right here in the middle of the mitten.
Okay.
Carson City, Crystal area. It was not a very good childhood. I was wrought with sexual abuse. At the age of 5, my uncle started treating me as his personal plaything.
Oh,
And
wow.
over the course of the next 5 years, there was 4 other men that decided that they were going to jump in there and jump,
Oh, terrible.
jump on board with the molestation train. And I thought that it was me, right? Most of my life, I thought that it was me that was doing something to attract these men. Um, but I got convicted of a felony at age 7. My brother and I broke into a church, the basement of a church called St. Mary's Cathedral. Stole some
Wow.
pudding cups and some playing cards and went across the street to a baseball field, and we're sitting in a dugout playing with the cards and eating the pudding. And a couple of police officers rolled up, and next thing you know, I'm charged with breaking and entering, and charged with a
That's
felony
at 7 years
at
old.
7 years old.
That seems like
And
a little harsh, no?
it was a little harsh.
Yeah, I
Looking
mean,
back at it now, there
yeah.
was a significant problem that transpired there, though. When I got arrested and charged, and then subsequently I was given 60 days probation, the men that were touching me in my life left. They got out of the way
Mm,
because they didn't want, obviously, police attention.
right.
And
Well,
and so in my young mind, I saw a connection. I said, "Okay, well, I'm not telling anybody. I'm not I mean, these men are threatening my life. They're threatening my mother, they're threatening my family." And so I didn't say anything, but the attention from the police made them go away.
I understand
So
that.
Silver
Yeah.
lining.
I was
Yeah.
like,
S-
"Okay, well, these men don't wanna hurt me. They wanna help me, and they drive these perpetrators away." So I broke the law again, and here they come back again, and back into courts, prosecutors, judges, attorneys, and the men went away. And so in my mind, I developed this affinity for law enforcement. And the only way to make them continue to come around is to keep breaking the law. And
Oh,
So,
wow.
by the time
Wow.
I'm 10, 12 years old, and I learned a really bad lesson at a young age because I told on my Uncle Mike. Because when I got convicted of that felony, I got an ass whooping like I've never had in my life. And my mother was trying to figure out why I'm such a bad kid. Why did I do this? And I cracked open and told her, my Uncle Mike is doing these things to me.
Oh, and you
Um,
told her. Wow.
and she lost her mind, obviously, called the police. It ultimately led to him going to prison for 15 years, but it destroyed my family. Like, well, the threats that he made came true. And he told me, if you tell anybody, it'll hurt our whole family. I'm going to have to hurt everybody in our family. And he
Oh,
wasn't wrong. The whole family, half of the family didn't believe me. They thought I was lying. And the other half, I don't know what the excuse was, but we stopped going to grandma's house. There were no more holidays with the family, cousins and aunts and uncles. All of that went away. And in here, I thought it was my fault. Like I should not have said anything because I mean, and the weird part was they forced me to talk to him on the phone when we would go over to grandma's house.
oh
Right?
my
Like, if we went
gosh.
over there, me and my brother and my mother would go to grandma's house outside of the rest of the family. They did their own thing, and then we were allowed to come over. And my Uncle Mike would call while we're there, and they would put me on the phone with him. Like, "You wanna talk to your uncle?" I'm not gonna say no. I'm in the habit of pleasing everybody. I'm a people pleaser.
Right.
And so I would talk to him, and that forced me it taught me to keep my mouth shut about the rest of the men. Like, I'm not gonna say anything about Tim, I'm not gonna say anything about Daryl, I'm not gonna say anything about Robbie because in my experience, I told on one of them and everything went apart. So why would I say anything else? So I just kept it in and just kept breaking the law because that was the easy thing to do. Just keep the police coming around. I get probation, everybody stays away. Uh,
Wow. What a
and
way to.
and so I developed that mindset. And so by the time I was 15 years old, I mean, I had 8, 9 felonies on my record, and I was a seasoned criminal without criminal intent. But I was in my school, in my high school, and I was smoking weed, and we got caught for it. And the principal made us come to his office every day during lunch for a drug intervention class. And I was early one day, and I'm sitting in the office, and I noticed that the safe is open. So I leaned over and I opened the safe with my foot, and I mean, there's tubs of money. I'm seeing stacks of money. There's tubs full of money, and this is, to me, now that I look back at it, this is a look into the mentality that I was in. I grabbed a white envelope, the only white envelope that was in the safe that you have no idea what's in it. Instead of all the other money and everything around it, I grabbed the white envelope.
It was Lotto.
Turns right. Turns out there was $2,000 in
Oh,
it. Um, but and so I got caught for that, and ultimately my judge was sick of seeing me, and he's, "You know what? I'm going to bind you over to adult court."
Mm.
And I went in front of adult judge for the first time in adult court, and he was done. He's like, "I'm sending you to jail." And while I was in jail, he gave me 6 months in the county jail. And while I was in jail, here come a slew of charges of all the other stuff that I'd done. I'd broke into houses, stole stuff, and these all came back. And the judge sent me to prison. It was like, "I'm not even going to play with you. You need to be taught a lesson, and I'm going to send you to prison." And he did. And that's where life went really south.
wow. I just have a quick question. Um, okay, so up to here, you've had a lot of bad things happen in your life that brought you up to where you are now. What, you're 15, 16 at the age
I
when you got
was I was 16. Yep.
16. Do, do you think, I know going backwards, but do you think, is there anything that could have been in your life that maybe directed you into a different direction as you were growing up? Is there something that you're not disciplined, taken care of in your home? Is there anything that you think that could have changed the outcome of what you've gotten up to, or where you?
Sure. Plenty. uh,
I mean, I know it's your
I
story. This is
think,
where you are today, but
yeah,
what do
no,
you?
and there's definitely opportunity. I think it was oversight on my mother's part.
Mm,
I know if anybody touched my kid, there would never be an opportunity for it to happen twice.
exactly.
Right?
Hmm.
Never. I would lock this kid up in a straitjacket in the bathroom if I have to.
Yeah,
Right? Um,
absolutely.
And so again, I don't blame my mother. I don't hold her accountable for it. Um, because what's the point? I mean, there's no point in doing that. But I believe had my mother been a little bit more aware or attentive to what was going on,
Mm-hmm.
she would have been like, "Hey, wait a minute, something's not right," and would have prevented it. Um, that definitely could have helped. But also, I think there was a lack of compassion in the court systems. Like
Mm-hmm.
when
Mm-hmm.
you have a 10, 11, 12,
Mm-hmm.
13-year-old kid that's got 7, 8 felonies, something's going on,
Yeah, they
right?
never. There was no
And
help. They didn't reach out
right,
to try to get you some
and
help at a young age.
and for my brother, it was different. My brother was constantly breaking the law as well,
Mm-hmm.
but he wasn't victimized. He fell in love with gang culture in the '90s. Fell under the Snoop Dogg and all that, and
Mm.
wanted to be a Crip in our small little town. But they took him away. They put him in juvie. They put him in foster
Yeah,
home.
it's
They
almost like you
they
were picked on.
they never did that to me. They never took me away. It was
Mm.
always probation, 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 probation. So I
Sad.
developed the consequences to my actions are nothing. It's just probation.
Yeah, you were a product of your environment. Sounds like it
And
was
so
just a
had they had a little bit more compassion with like what's wrong with this kid? Something's going on. Maybe
yeah,
it
because
would
you
have
were
been
lashing
different.
out. You were lashing out. You were
For sure.
looking for help. Yeah, yeah.
I
Get it.
basically had a protesting board up like, hey,
Mm.
but
So this is who this all this in your life is what made you today who you are. So
100%.
which you've came a long way, and
I want to know about you hear about this in psychology all the time about
mhm.
nature versus nurture, right?
Sure.
We know what happened with you when you were younger with your family, but were they were there any criminals in your family that did other than what they did to you that were in jail or prison for any other things? Because people want to know, hey, is this because he's a product of his environment,
Right.
or is it in his DNA? Like,
It sounds
Yeah.
like it's both.
yeah, what do you
There
think about
was
your
not.
situation?
There was not. Not that I know of. I don't know of anybody on my father's side or my mother's side of the family, except my Uncle Mike, that went to prison. I think I'm the only one.
Wow.
Yay, black sheep.
Aw. Well, now you're all good. But let's so let's get he's 16. Can you and I'm fast forward. So you went to prison.
How
Mhm.
old how
Yeah.
old were you when you got out? Like the last time you actually went in prison?
So I went into prison at 16 for the first time.
Right. That's
And it was a very tragic time.
Mm.
I was raped the first week I was there by two
Jesus.
dudes. And I stabbed one of the guys because of it. I mean, it was a very crude thing. I grabbed up some little tiny pencils and just ran across the hall and rah,
yeah, I was
you
gonna
know.
ask you what you had to stab with.
But
Yeah, because you should
no, and then I mean, it wasn't. I didn't like, or, kill the guy or anything. It's just little pencils. I mean, to probably
mm,
put some marks on his face or whatever. But uh, nobody else knew what happened. They just saw me stab this guy, and so his little counterpart there, his co-rapist, locked up immediately when they came running down the halls. The COs did because there's blood everywhere, and got him. Then his buddy was like, "You got to get me out of here." So everybody else was like, "Damn, this skinny ass kid right here just stabbed the crap out of that guy,"
you must probably
and
one
they
of the best thing you could have
respected
done.
me for it. Right?
Yeah.
They did. They
Yes.
respected me for it.
They respect you for that.
And then I got approached by the gang, and the gang was like, "My man, you're about your business, right? We want to put you down." And I have never had any interaction with gangs in my life, except my brother wanting to be a Crip. Um, Never really knew anything about it. But here I saw an opportunity for protection in prison because you can join a gang and it's like a brotherhood. And something snapped at me when those men raped me. I lost touch with reality a little bit. Um, I swore I would never be a victim again. I've been a victim my whole life, and I'm done. I now
Right.
know that
Exactly.
I'm in the jungle, and I don't care about anything anymore. I don't care about my own physical safety. I don't care about anybody else's physical safety or their
S-
feelings. All I know
survival.
is I'm going to
Hmm.
survive,
Yeah.
and I did. And it's I joined the gang and learned to be evil.
Mhm.
Uh, I covered myself with tattoos. I stabbed everybody that came across me in any type of wrong way. And I developed a reputation for being the guy that stabs people.
What was your name? What was
Um,
your name?
Mm.
well, I just had Sonny. It was just my name.
Uh,
Um,
you call him Poker.
but yeah, no, well, they called me Vodka for a long time. I don't know why, but they were just calling me Vodka, and I don't know why. And it was weird, but
Probably because you're clear,
oh,
white.
but and that's what I thought. I was like, maybe I look like a fifth of vodka or something. But in 19 in I think it was 99, in like August of 99, they opened up one of the first privatized youth facilities in the United States.
Mm.
It was a private prison owned by a company called Wackenhut, and it was in Baldwin, Michigan. And I was on the second ride-in into this facility, and they put us in this facility, and all the employees were locals who didn't really have much training. And we were already seasoned criminals at this point. Like, we were convicts. We'd been in prison for 2 years under the tutelage of seasoned convicts. And it was a war zone. These people did not know what they were doing. The facility is all in one building, and they didn't know what they were doing. And so we were like, hey, what's up with yard, man? We need our yard. And they just opened all the doors, all of them in all the units, and said, go for it. And so, well, you know what's going to happen here. It's a territorial gang dispute
Yeah.
immediately. We hit the yard, and it's like, okay, this is our area. That's yours. That's yours.
Territories start
A
being.
bloodbath ensued immediately. Within 30 days of this facility being opened, it was the most violent facility in Michigan, including all of the DOCs.
Oh
And
my
this is
God.
18 to 20-year-olds. There was
Oh.
daily, I mean, there's 5-6 stabbings a day, beatings left and right. And then there was this kid named White Tyson who slapped a CO. And that's a no-no in the DOC. That's an automatic charge. You're going to get some more time. But he slapped this CO, and then 5 days later, he's out of the hole. And all he had was an assault ticket. Because they
Wow.
didn't
Well,
know,
how was
they didn't
that?
know, they didn't know how to do their job. They didn't know what they were
Oh
doing.
my God.
And so, you know what happens there. It's a domino effect,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well, now we're going to slap the shit out of all the COs.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that became a thing. And then a couple months into it, they knew that this was out of control. They didn't know what to do. So they brought in these CERT teams from Virginia and some people from the DOC and locked the facility down, and then took their revenge on us. They started putting us in the hole, and me in particular, they would chain me up to the showers and just beat the hell out of me.
Oh my
And
God.
we would go back in, and the only wreck that we would get, because that hole in Baldwin was the hole. I mean, there's no light, there's no windows to outside. You can't see anything, just the windows on the door. And we would get gassed almost as a recreational activity, right? We would cover up our doors and I'm going to kill myself. And then 10 minutes later, you've got a 9-man CERT team with a shield and riot gear standing at your door. And they're going to give you 3 warnings. And then they're going to open your slot, and they're going to pepper spray. And then they're going to charge that cell. And so it became kind of a game for us to see if we could get out of the cell, get butt naked, put shampoo all over the floor and water all over the floor, and put it all over yourself, and let's go. And they took their revenge on us. They would hog tie us up. They would, we'd be shackled behind our backs and our feet, and they would take us out to the dog kennels and throw us out in the snowbank for 6-7 hours, coming out to kick us every once in a while, make sure we're still alive. They would come out and pour water on us. Like,
So
they tortured us.
I was gonna say it's torture. It's sick. It's almost like a
It is sick.
Yeah, like
There's been $80 million
getting off
in
on this shit. Plain
payouts
English.
from this facility.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Totally.
It brought out the inner sadist in these people.
Yeah. Totally.
And
Sick.
as young, influential adolescent gangbangers, we didn't know any better. We saw it as a war. Like, let's fight. So at the age of 20, I was lucky enough to be ridden out of that facility, because you can't be there after you're 20.
Thank God you timed out.
Right. They sent me back to St. Louis, a level 4 facility. And my bunkie, when I go in, is a guy named Terrible T, who was one of the founding members of Young Boys Incorporated. It was a street gang in the 70s in Detroit, the YBI. They got famous for putting their logo on their dope sacks. And this guy took me from this young, savage, angry criminal to a street smart criminal. He taught me all kinds of actual criminal things. And then at age 21, they opened the doors and were like, well, your time's done. You can go. Here's $75 and 3 condoms. Good luck.
Wow.
No parole, no probation, no oversight, just doors open. Well, what do you think I'm going to do? I've just spent the last 5 years in war, raised by savages and wolves. I have no conscience. I'm a greedy, self-centered individual whose biggest goal in life is to be the next Scarface.
Oh my gosh.
And
Wow.
so I threw the condoms away. I don't need those. And I robbed somebody the first day I was out at a gas station.
What?
I mean,
Oh
the
my-
first day I wasn't even out. I came home. My brother had a little bit of a party for me. I got drunk. I woke up at 1:30 in the morning and decided that I wanted to go for a walk. I walked outside, didn't know where I was. And there's a Quality Dairy, a QD gas station. And I walked over there and I saw these 2 people coming out and I'm like, I'm going to rob them. I need money. I've only got $75.
Is that why
And I went and robbed
so many prisoners go back to jail so quickly?
It's a big part of it. If they don't have something established to help them, it's a huge part of it, right? And
Wow.
not only that, I was just trained by all these people. And so I spent the next 2 years of my life robbing drug dealers. I got into big boy crimes. I'm like, well, if I put on a police uniform, they're going to give me all their dope and money.
Wait, hold up.
And
What?
So you became Robin Hood.
yeah, well, except I didn't give it to anybody but myself.
Well, that's okay. You were doing.
Yeah.
He was robbing the hood.
Yeah, but you were
Yeah,
robbing
I was
people that
robbing
did
the
bad
hood.
themselves, right? Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And then it was bad. I got a couple of girls pregnant on either sides of the country. I was just a train wreck of a human being. Robbing drug dealers was such a lucrative industry for me that I was able to go across the country doing this. And I came back. I started a home invasion ring with a couple of buddies, and we treated it like a 9 to 5. It was ridiculous.
Oh my
But we would
God.
go every day gathering goods because we lacked conscience, right? I lacked any awareness of what consequences are.
Do you think
And
prison
so-
did that to you though?
100%.
Oh, he had to
Because I was-
survive. It's
I was
survival
all about
mode.
myself, and there was no programming that I was involved in that would have taught me anything different. And so,
It was knowledge that you
after-
wouldn't get in college.
right.
Terrible. Yeah.
And
I
on
mean,
September 2nd, 2004, I got caught again for a pretty heinous crime and sent back to prison for another 12 years. And
wow.
this time, I was 23, I think. And now I had 2 kids. And it was a little bit different. I wanted to be a better person. I wanted to be a dad. And my oldest son was living a couple miles away from the prison that I was at, and his mom took me back, and we were together, and we were going to try to raise his kid. She's going to go to school, and I'll be in here, and we'll visit, and we'll all the time, and we'll raise the kid together. And then in 2008, I find out that my brother and this woman are having an affair, and
Oh my God. That's
and now my
crazy.
oldest son, I don't get him anymore. My brother is going, they literally tell me on the phone, I'm pregnant. It's your brother's kid. He's going to raise our son as his own. And he doesn't think you should call anymore. And I'm
Oh
like,
So they're
my
brothers
God.
and cousins.
Like,
they're brothers.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
are
yeah,
brothers.
yeah. The brothers. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so I lost my mind.
do you
And
handle that?
just ironically, when I got back into the unit, I just found out that this kid ran into my cell and stole all my stuff. And I'm like, okay. And it was a very, very violent altercation. And I got taken to the hole, obviously. And as I'm standing in the hole, washing the blood and pepper spray off my face, I hear this guy, hey, white boy, come talk to me. And I'm like, I snapped out on this guy. Are you, F-bombs, left and right. Don't talk to me. Stop calling, blah, blah, blah. And he, every day, hey, white boy, come talk to me. Hey, white boy.
Oh my
And I mean,
God. That's funny.
I was spazzing on this guy. And about a week later, they took me down to see SCC, which is a security classification committee. They're the ones that determine how long you're going to be in the hole. And they gave me 60 months. So it was 5 years in the hole.
Oh my
And
God.
I'm like, well, that sucks. But I mean, I still have 8 years to go. So I just don't care, right? I literally don't care. I've lost anything that means anything to me. And I'm just a selfish, self-centered, gang-banging piece of shit. I just don't care. And I come back and he's calling again. Hey, white boy. Hey, white boy. Finally, I'm like, what, dude? What do you want to talk about? And I'll never forget it. He said, why are you so angry? Because I'm in the hole. I'm in prison. My life sucks. You won't shut up. There's plenty of reasons why I'm angry. He says, no, no, no. That's why you're mad. Mad is on the surface. Anger runs much deeper, and you are an angry young man. And I don't know. Something hit me with that. I'm like, damn, that's deep. And over the next 19 months, this man changed my life. We were
Wow.
across the hall from each other in solitary confinement, and he helped me to rewire my brain to look at life through the lens of love and kindness, to accept the past, to forgive myself, to forgive others, to learn how to process emotion.
That's
And it was
amazing.
such a dynamic relationship because he's a Circle 7 Mobite, right? They do not like white people.
Wait, what is that again?
Yeah, I was
A,
go
a,
back on
a
that one.
Circle 7 Mobite.
Circle
Um,
7 Mobile.
yeah. And they don't like white people.
Are those the guys that
And
stand on the corner with the megaphone?
with the hat with the
Yeah.
tassels and yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh,
And so
Phil,
in
how would you
prison,
know that, Phil?
in prison, they're a very violent gang. They're not like a nice religious organization. They are a violent gang that were from the Mobites.
I'm kind of curious why he was in
And
there. Maybe I should.
yeah, well, he was in for murder. He came in 1984, I think it was, and had a natural life. He's never getting out.
Oh,
Um,
wow. But
and
here he helped you.
out of nowhere, and he had,
Mm-hmm.
you'll have to read the book. I
Yeah,
don't want to give
totally.
it all away, but he knew that his life was in the free world was over, and he saw an opportunity in me to pass on the knowledge that he's picked up over his lifetime. It was never
Wow.
religious. We never had a much of a religious
Mm-hmm.
discussion. And through him, through me, he gets to leave a legacy in the world.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget it when I left the hole 19 months later. I had done so much work that the administration started to see it and came and offered me the opportunity to teach a class called Thinking for a Change. And if I were to teach this class, they would let me out of the hole early. Awesome. I'm in for that. Because the changes that I had made were tangible, right? In that 19-month stretch, it was tangible. They could see this. And they let me out to teach this class, and they put me in the protective custody unit. They tricked me.
Wow.
I thought they were going to let me out of the hole to go teach this class. No, no. You're going to go to protective custody, and the class is all pedophiles.
Oh,
Awesome.
gosh.
So
And what were
here
you to
we
teach
go.
them? What were you
I have
teaching
to
them?
teach these men how to think differently, how to understand that your actions have consequences, and how to stop in the moment before you commit an act, how to stop, think. It's all about cognitive behavioral therapy,
Mm-hmm.
um, eliminating self sabotaging behaviors, developing empowering beliefs so that you live a better life. And so I taught this class, and I mean, it went really well.
Wow. Good for you.
Wow.
So,
I dedicated my life
mm-hmm.
to helping, to help heal, because I had just gone through this soul cleansing moment in the hole. And I knew, oh, if I don't have any superpowers nobody else has. I'm not special by any stretch of the imagination. So if I can do this, anybody can do this. And I dedicated my life to helping with that ever since.
Perfect. So has your experience in prison shaped your perspective of or taught you anything valuable? It sounds like to
Are
some
you
degree it did because it turned you around, and then you were teaching. In the end, you were teaching, correct? Before you were,
sure?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I spent the rest of my bit mentoring guys and teaching classes and working with people and teaching them how to be better when we're here.
So you
right?
had a
So one
pivoting
of the
point. There was a pivoting point
right,
you went through. Yeah.
and it
Wow.
wasn't an easy cakewalk because
Mm.
once I was done with protective custody, I knew I had to leave protective custody. I actually chose to stay there for a little bit longer because the peace was nice. But I knew that I had parole coming up, and so I have to be in general population in order to get that. And that meant that I had to go back and face the gang because I was done. I didn't, I'm my own man. I'm not your puppet. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. And they didn't take that very well. You don't just quit. And so I was stabbed. I was beaten several times, um, pumpkin headed with locks,
Oh my God.
and told them, like, I need y'all. I took an oath of nonviolence. Right? I'm not going to hurt anybody anymore. I've hurt people my whole life. I'm not going to hurt anybody else.
Okay.
But if
This
y'all
is
don't leave me alone,
yeah.
I'm
This
gonna break that oath one time. Y'all know what I did for you. Think of what I'll do to you. Leave me alone.
exactly.
And they would not. And so, unfortunately, I did make the choice to delve into one more violent act. And it was on the leader of the gang. But it worked. And after that point, they left me alone. And since then, I have led a relatively nonviolent life.
Thank God for that. And unfortunately, it took that violent act that you had to do to the leader of that gang in order to free yourself. And
Yeah,
that's the
they
same
just
way
wouldn't
with
stop.
outside of prison sometimes. Unfortunately, to bring that up. But
It
sometimes
is.
even outside of prison, right? It take one down and it usually takes a bunch if you take the right one, unfortunately. And that
And it's
could
sad.
for anything, even with kids, school,
It's sad
bullying.
because
Mhm.
the answer that everybody's looking for, it's so simple. I think human beings just have a problem with simplicity.
Mm.
I think we have such an innate desire to understand things
Mhm.
that simple things just don't do it for us. But that being said, the answer to everything is be kind. 100%.
Humble, be
There's
kind. We got
nothing
you.
that kindness cannot do. You want to be successful? Be kind. You want to have a good life? Be kind. You want to help the world? Be kind.
Mm-hmm.
Kindness is be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Kindness to self is the biggest barrier to
Well
freedom,
said. Yes.
internal mental freedom,
Well
because
said.
we hold ourselves so accountable for our past that the shame and unworthiness prevent us from moving forward. We don't feel worthy. We don't feel worthy of having the dreams that we think that we have, or the dreams that we do have. We don't feel worthy of receiving it. And when you don't feel worthy, subconsciously you will block any opportunities that the universe gives you to achieve those dreams.
And this is true. Absolutely.
100%.
Sonny, can I ask you a question here? You
away.
talked about that pivot point where the guy kept pestering you, saying, "Hey, white boy." Do
Yeah.
you think that a lot of people who are going through situations similar to yours miss that pivot point? Because it probably wouldn't have been, your life probably would be completely different if you didn't actually pay
Open
attention
up to this
him
man,
or
but he had
open
no
up to him.
choice too. He was pretty.
Yeah,
I mean, thank God he did, right?
100%.
'Cause I think people
Yeah,
who go
and-
through those life changes don't actually realize that sometimes it's something really, really small.
Yeah, 100%. And again, it's the blockage subconsciously that we put up to the opportunities to help us in life. We get those opportunities all the time. Every day is an opportunity to make your life better, but we subconsciously block ourselves to these things. I could have remained angry in that moment and just not ever talked to this man.
Wow.
And
This
and
is
who knows what my life would have been like.
right. No, amazing, amazing. It was. I don't want to call him an angel, but it's almost like he was there, and he got you up, got you further on in your life. But there's so many other things that you've accomplished after prison. So let's go
Been a
through a
lot.
little bit of that on what
Yeah.
you're doing today, right? Are you
Yeah.
coaching? Obviously, you got a lot of life's experiences. You could just fill us in, if you please, a little bit
Yeah,
what you're doing today.
so when I first got out, I worked for the union doing demolition. I knew in my mind that you have to work and you
Mhm.
got to prove yourself. But we are not constrained to a life that is given to us. We have the ability to do anything we want. When they were telling me The best you could hope for with 35 felonies and 18 years in prison, the best you could hope for would be a supervisor position at a factory. I don't
Mm.
accept that.
No, you didn't, and
I
you didn't.
I
You didn't accept that.
and I did not. And I
Mhm.
believe we can manifest any type of destiny and future that we choose if we believe in ourselves. If we go at it with unbridled passion, and first of all, you have to know what you want. If you don't identify the things that you want in life, you're basically running around chasing your tail.
Mm.
You have to
Nice way to
identify
put
it.
it.
Self-awareness is such a crucial element to this. But I came out, I did demolition. I worked harder than anybody on that job site
I'm
because
sure you
I'm
did.
going to show you that I'm trustworthy, I'm capable,
Mhm.
and I will work my ass off for that paycheck. You pay me a good wage, I'm going to work my ass off. But let's all be clear, I'm not going to be here long because I have goals, dreams, and aspirations. This is a stepping stone.
Smart.
And so while I'm doing that, I started a band
Mm.
because I'm big into music. Music was an escape for me as a child. I love music, and so
Oh,
I
there you
started
go.
a
There you go.
yeah, yeah.
Great picture. Wow.
Uh, I started a band. This was a headlining show in Chicago
Yeah.
that we did actually.
Nice.
Um, and so this was a suicide awareness prevention show actually, which was really good.
Nice.
You got so
I
much to
started
talk
this
about. We can
band,
have you on 20
and
podcasts.
it's
We're gonna have to continue this.
it's a testament to manifestation. I didn't know anybody in the band except the drummer 9 days prior to the band being made. We sat down, here's a show, and in 9 days we built this band. 90 days
Wow.
later, we were signed to Ferocious Records and
Oh
we're
my.
we're doing tours. Like we are headlining shows and while everybody else is like, "Oh, this is incredible. This is crazy. This you're so lucky." I am not lucky, first of all. It's passion, belief, and determination. You can manifest anything you want. I told you when I walked out the door this is what I was going to do. And you're surprised? I told you this is what I'm going to do.
So you mastered
And
manifestation. You need to do a class
mastered
on that.
manifestation. No doubt. It's one of the primary things that I teach is the power of
Oh,
manifestation.
there you go. Perfect.
And so I did the music for a while, but then quickly determined that my passion is not everybody's passion. So the guys in the band, they want to sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's what they want. And I didn't want that. I wanted to build an audience so that I can teach you about overcoming tragedy, overcoming trauma. I want you to have a better life. And here's some good music to listen to as well. And these guys were all about drugs and sex and being rock stars. And so it didn't last very long before here's the label. Well, we'll give you all this stuff. Go on tour. Here's a van. Here's money. Here's this. And then I'm the one that's got to pay for it because
Mm.
you guys aren't. All their money goes to drugs and crap equipment, and I'm the one that has to do everything. So
That's because
I'm
you have
out
a
of
lot of
this.
life's lessons.
Yeah,
You knew
and
what you
so
wanted.
I quickly made the decision that this is not going to work. I will take care of the financial end of the label contract. Don't worry about it. And so I quit. I joined another band. It was a dubstep metal band on bass. We
Oh,
made a few
nice.
music
Huh.
videos. Yeah, and we did some touring and made some videos. But then COVID hit, and I'm like, well, we can't do music anymore. And in the interim, in that, there's just so many layers to all of this because I was also running a nightclub while working a full time job, and I had gone through a pretty bad breakup, and I came out and took a week vacation in Phoenix with my youngest son's mother, she's a very motivational person, and I got back on track. I had lost it a little bit from my initial when I got out of prison. I was determined and focused and motivated on helping people. And
Good.
then the music caught up to me. I also got caught up in, touring and doing shows, and I kind of lost focus a little bit. And I mean, I can admit that. And so I wanted to get back on track. So I went down to a staffing company to get a part-time job. And I walked out with a six-figure career
Oh my Lord. Do
because I
tell. Do
believe
tell
in
us that.
manifestation. I walked in and I walked in and she's like, "Well, I have a couple of second shift positions available in a factory." And I have PTSD from the word factory. Right? Like I'm not going to work in a
Yeah.
factory because that's what they said. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And so I started to talk to her, and she was like, "You are a fascinating creature. You should talk to the owner of the company." Well, absolutely, I should talk to. I agree with you 100%, Shell. I should talk to the
She
owner.
calls you a creature, but you agree.
And,
It's okay. Give me the 6 figures.
and so she put me across the hall, and I met Mike Donato, who owns the largest staffing company in Ohio. And I went in and I talked with him and his brother and his chief of staff or whatever she was. And he said, "This is incredible." He said, "I'm going to pay you to talk to people."
Look at this.
I'm like,
Wow.
"Well, fascinating,
Yeah.
because I can do that well." And after a little bit of a shopping spree with nice clothing that I'd never seen in my life, I have my own office, I have my own desk, and I'm like, "This is nuts. This is manifestation. Here it is."
Yeah.
And so now I not only have I learned how to be a staffing specialist and give you jobs, but I'm going to motivate you when you come in for this. I'm going to talk to you about your life and how to
Oh
get your
my God.
mental process right.
Amazing. This is
And
like
so
amazing.
here's the most amazing opportunity of my life.
That good hand
And
of that
then
fellow
we're
was up.
sitting here watching TV, and all of a sudden, everybody's talking about COVID. And I'm like,
Oh.
the hell is that? And sure enough, I looked at it for a split second. I said, the world is conspiring against me. I've gone through all of this crap in my life, and I landed this amazing opportunity. And now COVID is going to take it away.
Oh Lord. No, a
Staffing
virus,
industry
that
got
dreaded
hit the
virus.
worst from COVID, right? Because we have to find employees to put to work in other businesses. And COVID ruined that, destroyed it. So I immediately got laid off. And I'm like, well, now what? I can't make music. I can't work. I'm stuck in a house with this miserable, treacherous woman. What do I do? And I'm watching YouTube, and I see No Life Shack come on, and he's doing a music reaction. And I'm like, if that guy can do that, he's got like 2 million subscribers. If that guy can do that, I can do that. So I went downstairs, turned on my camera, jumped on my computer, and I made a reaction video. And then less than 30 days later, I had 10,000 subscribers, and I was banking on YouTube immediately, right out the gate.
Wow.
Less than 90 days later, I've got 30,000 subscribers. I'm making 5-6 grand a month off of YouTube. I'm like, hallelujah.
Wow.
This is it, right? I
Yeah.
figured it out. Not only am I making an income by sitting and watching music videos and critiquing these music videos, and I do it authentically because I love music. So I'm watching these. But I also have built a platform where I now can talk to people about healing, about being good people,
Yeah.
about being positive. So I immediately started podcasting. I did a show on E360 TV network. I submitted a video and I won, and I got a season on their TV network
Amazing.
called Holding the Rope. And that
Wow.
was
Good
where
for
I
you.
found ordinary people that have done extraordinary things in their life. And I just started podcasting, interviewing people. I did a morning show called The Morning Brew for 2 hours a day from 9 to 11 every day.
Wow.
And we built this massive following and started to create a culture of positivity. And then I went and had a Reiki session. One of my co-hosts was talking about Reiki, and I've never done it before. And I'm not much into like the foo-foo spiritual stuff.
But it finds you.
I believe that we manifest everything in life. I don't need some mystical thing to do it for me. But I'm open. If you can show me a ghost, then I will believe in ghosts. Go for it. And he's like, I'm going to set you up with my Reiki master. You're going to go out and do a session for the show and then come back. So I went out and I had this Reiki session. And she unlocked everything that I was not admitting to myself.
Wow.
And I'm like, holy shit. Wow. I know what I have to do. And I
She was a
immediately
good
went
Reiki
home.
master.
I went home and I left the girl that I was with. I was miserable. I was not happy. I put on this face that I was because we had a son and I worship my son. And I know in my heart of hearts, if I leave her, she's going to use him against me. But consequences be damned. I am going to live an authentic, happy life, period. And whatever's supposed to be will be. So I went home. I left her. She went ballistic. Throwing candles out the windows, immediately ran down, started destroying the studio. I tried to leave. I go to get in the car. She comes out, punches me, grabs the keys, run into the house, locks the door. and it's December 12th, 2020.
Mm.
I'm standing in shorts and a hoodie in the middle of winter. What do? Called the cops 3 different times. Police tried to get this girl to give me my keys to my car so I could leave. She just wasn't having it. And so a buddy of mine had seen a post she put out on Facebook, another very prominent lead vocalist of a band. And he said, buddy, you got a plane ticket. I bought you a plane ticket. Come to Florida. Get the hell out of there. You need to take some space.
Mm.
And so I did. I went to the airport, flew down to Florida. And next thing I know, my car is impounded and destroyed. She said it was abandoned. All my stuff is destroyed. And I'm literally homeless now. And now I'm on a buddy's couch in Florida. And this is December of 2020. And I'm like, how did my life just go from 6-figure job in prison, YouTube celebrity? What is going on here? And now I'm homeless. I refuse. I refuse. We are going to get up and we are going to show the world that through kindness and perseverance, you can do anything. And so I just started climbing back up. And within a month, had another condo, started getting a computer. And I kept on the track, and I woke up at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and they had hacked into my YouTube channel and posted porn at 3 in the morning.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
And so my YouTube channel was deleted by YouTube.
Oh,
And I'm like,
shit, she did.
Wait a minute. That wasn't me. I've never even had a warning from YouTube. I don't do this. But they don't want to hear it. There's absolutely there's no discussion. Your channel's just gone.
Oh my God.
And it was right at that time that I had gotten on a podcast as a guest called Boot Camp for the Mind and Soul. My booking agent said, I got this English lady who has a podcast in England called Boot Camp for the Mind and Soul, and I think you'd be perfect for it. And I lined you up. So I said, all right. Amidst all this chaos in my life, I jump on a 5-minute pre-screen show with her. And my life is chaos. I got this 2-year-old running around going crazy. I got 2 cats that are destroying everything. My phone's going bananas. Life is chaos for me. And we're on a pre-screen. I'll be there for the podcast. I promise I'll be there. A couple weeks later, the podcast comes up. She now admits that she didn't think she would ever see me again. And I popped up 15 minutes early, just like I was here. I'm ready. I'm on point. I'm professional.
Yes,
Let's
you
do
are.
this.
Mm-hmm.
And in that hour-long podcast, I fell in love with this woman, and she fell in love with me, and we are together to this day.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah. She was in England, and I was in Cleveland.
Oh, wow!
And
nice love story.
It was the most amazing, raw conversation I've ever had in my life, and for the first time, I felt like somebody actually saw me, and there was no judgment, there was no nothing there. And she was going through a bad divorce. So we started talking every day on the phone, 5-6 hours a day, FaceTime, talking to each other. And she said, let's go to Palm Springs. I said, I hate Florida. She said, no, it's in California. Oh, okay. Well, I'm cool with that. So here we are, June 6th of 2021. We've come here to Palm Springs, California, and have lived a life of purpose. This is my star seed. We are diametrical opposites. When you look at us on the surface, we are completely different. I am loud, brash, heavy, hard, American, love things loud. And she is a soft, compassionate, quiet, soft little bunny, right?
But you need that. That's why
you're our core.
Yeah.
We are exactly that. We stand on a foundational principle of kindness, compassion, and authenticity. And because of that, we have never had a moment where we have not been madly in love. And it's amazing. And so
good for you, and it's well deserved. Very nice to hear that. Yeah.
Wow. And we're in California now. We own a cat cafe, the only cat cafe in the Coachella Valley.
Oh yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I know your time is wrapping up, and you're a pretty busy guy. But let's. Do you want to mention that little cafe?
It can go quick. We own Frisky Business Palm Springs Cat Cafe. It's the only cat cafe in the Coachella Valley.
Oh, nice.
When we got here, we decided we needed a business to start, and we're both very passionate about mindset coaching. She was a mindset coach for a long time, a keynote speaker, but she couldn't work while she's here because she hasn't gotten citizenship. So we needed to start a business, and she said, let's do a cat cafe. I had no idea what the hell that was. I'm like, well, what is that? But the concept of it, taking cats out of cages and getting them into forever homes, it's a no-brainer. Let's do that. And so we built this thing up, and it's incredible. We've done 62 adoptions since we opened in
Wow.
December.
Good for
Uh,
you.
yeah,
Nice.
it's been absolutely incredible, and we have built a community that is insanity. Like, I
Oh,
live such a happy and fulfilled life,
good for you.
and
Wow.
it allows me
Wow.
to manifest everything that I had worked for in
What a
my life.
beautiful
Where I
story.
wanted to be is where I'm at. I'm just now establishing the Von Cleveland Foundation, which is my nonprofit organization that is designed to bring mindset coaching and personal development programming to marginalized people and the formerly incarcerated. It's expensive. I'm trying to make it available for free. We own Itopia Coaching. I'm the director of Itopia Coaching, which is a mindset coaching company. We have a 12-week, 8-module curriculum called the Choice Effect. And this is what I'm trying to bring. I'm trying to disseminate this to people for free. It can really change your life. And yeah, I'm a mentor to the juveniles in the juvenile facility. I work with the Riverside County Probation Department to go into the juvenile facilities and mentor these guys that are on a bad path, which if somebody had done for me,
Wow.
but I don't, I'm not upset about anything that's happened in my life because it's made me who I
Made you
am.
who you
Every
are.
single
Yeah.
thing that has happened has put me in this position. So I'm thankful. I'm
Wow.
thankful for that. I'm also a reentry coach in Los Angeles with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, where we go and pick inmates up from prison and give them a ride home.
Okay.
And
It's
us
just
having that experience helps us to help them transition back into society.
wow. So you have a lot to talk about, and you can almost see that you can be
A
in
lot of
more than
hats.
just one podcast. You need a series.
Yeah, because
Um,
I own a photography company and I'm an actor out here. And
yeah.
there's
Oh,
so much, right?
well, you
But it's a
got
fulfilling life, right? You have so much.
I have one. Oh, 'cause I know it's getting late, and I know you have other podcasts because you're a busy man. But I do have one question. I just jotted down. Just came to me.
Yeah.
Do you believe that actually being a prisoner in reformation can make people can change to make you better? Does that make sense?
Because your story is unique.
Yeah, it's unique. You have a unique
Um,
story. So, I mean,
I do have a bit of a unique story, but it's also incumbent on the person that's going through the experience. I'm
mm,
not the first person that's done it, right? Nelson Mandela did 20 years, became president of his country. Viktor Frankl, who's one of the most influential men in my life, his book Man's Search for Meaning.
mm,
He's a Jewish man who had his entire family stolen, everything he owned ripped away, thrown into Auschwitz, where he witnessed and endured torture on an epic scale, and did it with a smile on his face and brought the people up around him.
wow.
The man's a saint, right? So I'm not the only one that's done it. It's incumbent on the person. Life is not going to hand it to you. You have to take it. You have to understand that you want something better in life and then have the courage to take it.
Thank you for answering that. You answered it well.
Sonny, before we get out
Yeah.
of here, can you give us all your websites and where everybody can find you? Because Ellie's audience is going to be asking, like, where can we find this guy? Where can we get his
Yeah.
book? Where is all
So
that
the
stuff?
book drops September 1st. You can already pre-order the ebook now. It's called Hey White Boy. It is on Amazon. You can find it there. But the easiest way to find anything that I do is just Google Sonny Von Cleveland.
Yep.
I've come to find that that's the easiest way,
Yeah.
right? I'm the only one. And just follow on Facebook, Instagram. I'm trying to learn to get Twitter better, but I suck at technology.
Use
I'm
Threads. Use
learning.
Threads.
I am on Threads. Follow me on Threads. I've been
Oh, okay.
trying
Well,
to
that's
get that
cool.
thing going as well.
All right.
I do a daily podcast every morning. It's not a podcast, more like talk radio, but I do it every morning.
The morning choice,
in
right?
Yeah.
July, the morning choice,
Okay.
which will be going to 5
Well,
days a week.
Phil.
But,
Nice.
and then you can go to heywhiteboy.com. If you
Mhm.
want to check out some of my coaching and things that are available
Perfect.
there, you can go to itopiacoaching.com.
Gotcha. Thanks
and
for sharing all this information. Thank
and
you.
then check out my YouTube, Sonny Von Cleveland. We're about to hit 12,000 subscribers for the third time.
Whoa,
So
thank
let's
God.
go.
Wow. Good for you.
Wow. Very
We're
impressive.
working.
Yeah.
We don't
it's
quit.
just, yeah, good for you. Great energy. Great energy.
We got to
Thank
have
you.
you on again to talk, just to go even deeper.
I know,
you
because
know?
I'm
there's so
totally
much
down.
to take in, and we're like in awe, right? Because that's what happens when you're doing these interviews, and especially when we have this interesting person opening up to us about their lives. It's we're because a lot of it we learn as you speak, so we're
Yeah.
learning with our audience, right? Because it's not just
Sure.
so it's amazing to us too. What you just the stories you just told us, amazing.
Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much for
good for
giving me the
you.
opportunity to share it.
Yeah, thank you
And
very much, Sonny.
I think that's the way that we cultivate a world of kindness is we share. When you
Well,
find something positive,
yeah,
share it.
and that's
It's
what
so easy.
we're hoping with the podcast that we're doing, the story time with Ellie, is for people like you to come on and share what they've been through, how you've grown, and we want positive, outcomes. You want the good
And here's
and how we
the
changed.
be all end all of it. If you take anything away from
Mm-hmm.
your interaction with me, it is a choice. You
Mm-hmm.
get to choose everything that you do in your life. It takes the same amount of energy to pop up positive news as it does negative news.
Yeah,
So
I
if
want
you
more
watch
positive.
negative news,
Yeah,
that's your choice. And when your
Mm-hmm.
day is negative, that's why.
I agree. I agree with that, and that's kind of like repeating what I just said too. We want the bad, the good, and how we turned it around. That's what we want
That's
in
right.
stories, right? We want the good part, and you definitely have a fantastic. I don't want to call it an ending because it's not ending; it's your beginning.
We
But
just
it's all
get
good
started.
stuff. Good stuff. You just
Okay.
started. You're gonna be rocking that out. Good for you
Well,
and your
thank you
wife.
so much.
Congratulations to both of you. It's been a good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again. Thank you, Sonny.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
Thank
being
you.
We'll catch you next time,
Yeah,
guys. See
all right.
you later.
Yay.
See ya.